What is proprietary about Coinbase anyway? They just IPO'd here on Wednesday. It's now Friday. Let's talk about it, because I still am not really, I haven't been persuaded to buy Coinbase. I more so would much rather just own Bitcoin, which is what I talked about in the past. But I wanted to go over some things that I didn't go over in the prior videos, especially after we now have the information on what happened over these past couple days here of the IPO actually going through. So at first, the IPO was looking strong, and then it deflated down to about 300, which it rebounded, and now it's back up at about 340 range, which gives it a little bit over a 60 billion valuation. Prior to that, a lot of Wall Street, they were projecting it to go over 100 billion. It didn't quite get there. It fell down pretty bad, and it recovered, though, to give it credit. I still think 60 billion is being very, very fair for Coinbase. But I really want to go over what would make me bullish on Coinbase, because they could do something that would make me bullish. And to get into that, it's basically, what are they going to do with this capital? Will they do a secondary? Are they going to scoop some of this money up? And what's the plan with that money? To back it up a little bit, though, as it stands, there is nothing proprietary about Coinbase other than their user base. And to give them credit where credit's due, they have a pretty great user base. And their user base, it's very, very important that we give credit that their user base is legitimate, verified individuals. It is not the same as you having 5 different Instagram accounts that don't have any of your information. These are verified accounts with everyone's information. So their user base is honestly, of any app platform, it's like that's a legitimate user base. So there's that. I see that as something that's proprietary, is having that large user base. I think it's over 50 million people. Pretty strong. It's the biggest broker house because of that as well. But at the end of the day, there isn't anything proprietary there. And as a matter of fact, they're actually one of the more expensive ways to buy Bitcoin. It costs a lot of money to use their platform. And now the platform works very well. They make a ton of money off of the trading, the buying and selling of crypto. Very, very profitable company. But at the end of the day, you got a ton of competition out there. And the way I would relate it is bringing up Tesla, because I remember in the beginning of Tesla, everybody was talking about, and they're still talking about this all the time. Oh, well, they're making electric cars. Porsche's got electric, the Taycan or whatever. They've got this electric car. GM's working on electric cars. They're all doing electric cars, and they're going to go steal Tesla's thunder. What did Tesla do? They did things that made them proprietary. They built the gigafactories, right? Not just one gigafactory, but one that's in production over in China as well. They have all these different things, and their cars themselves are what a lot of people overlook with Tesla is these cars are getting so much data. Though all of that, the chip that they have, their own proprietary chip to these Teslas. That's another proprietary aspect to them. And I will tie this into Coinbase. I know this is going off on a little bit of a tangent, and I do that a lot. Fair warning, if you're subscribed to my channel, sorry, I rant a lot. They started, when everybody was doubting Tesla and they were first getting that big valuation, they were doing things that made them proprietary, whether it was make their own chips for their cars, all the data that their cars scooped up off the road. And is it data or data? Anyway, I'm going to call it data. So tomato. Anyway, they started scooping up all of this data and got all of this information. And these are things, the gigafactories, all the data these cars are getting, the proprietary chip in these cars, the fact that they do everything in-house, they literally roll in aluminum sheets, bring out cars out of the other end. All of these aspects to it made it proprietary, but then it got even further with Tesla. What did they do after, they proved that they had something special there? Well, they started doing secondaries. And I'll give you, hint, with that $15 billion treasury at Tesla, how much of it do you think was made off of profit from cars? That much. They didn't make that at all off of the cars. They scooped that up off the market when they had the opportunity. They said, they're giving us what kind of valuation over here? You know, Elon Musk was sitting there with their CFO and whatnot, and you're telling me they're valuing us at hundreds of billions of dollars? Hundreds, really? Secondary. And they scooped up, you know, a few billion, scooped up a few more billion, and scooped up even more billions. And then before you know it, they have a treasury where they can buy $1.5 billion in Bitcoin. By the way, they've made more money off their Bitcoin than they have off of selling cars. So that treasury that they basically scooped up from the shareholders, that's what they had. They basically strengthened their company off of their shareholders' money, which oddly enough made them even more valuable. And I think the reason for that is there is no short thesis anymore on Tesla. It's like they have the capital they need to do whatever they want. You can't mess with them anymore because, you know, they have more capital than any other car company. And that'd be a very scary thing if you're their competitor and you say, wow, they really have 15 billion sitting in their treasury and they have the gigafactory. Like they can build whatever they want now. They have a full-blown gigafactory over in China. They got the one in Nevada. Now they're building another thing over there in Texas. It's like, how do we compete with them? We don't have 15 billion in our treasury. That is basically a chess move that makes you so much more powerful. The fact that you have that much money is proprietary in its own right because you can do things with it. Let's tie this back into Coinbase. What does Coinbase have that is proprietary to deserve a $60 billion valuation? They're a broker. They help you buy and sell crypto. You can trade crypto on their app. They store your Bitcoin, so they probably make interest off of your money. They're like any traditional bank. You give them a free loan and they don't do anything for you. It's in that kind of a standard, which is profitable, very profitable. But at the end of the day, there's nothing proprietary there. I don't see anything that makes them stand out to their competition. And that's why I'm against the IPO. I mean, after this video, maybe go to the videos I made prior on Coinbase, and I basically said the same thing. But in this one, I want to talk more about what Coinbase could do that would make me bullish on Coinbase. And what I would do is if I was involved, you know, in some sort of executive level of Coinbase. If I was in charge over there, I would be pulling the most creative minds out and saying, you guys got to come up with something proprietary here because we just got a chance of a lifetime. We got more money than any other broker house, but we do the same thing. Matter of fact, we charge more than a lot of them. So they are proprietary over us on their cost points. What do we do here, guys? Somebody come up with something proprietary. If it was me, I'd be looking to acquire a company like BlockFi. You know, I think what they're doing is very interesting. Now, I don't know if if it's too good to be true yet. I'm still kind of researching. I know a lot of YouTubers are saying, you know, go click in the link in below. You know, if you click the link below, that's just my company. I don't have any advertisers, no sponsors are on my videos. I won't promote earbuds or VPNs or anything like that. But this BlockFi is getting out there, and I looked at their platform, and I went, this is pretty interesting. So you're telling me I give you my Bitcoin, you give me a loan in fiat against my Bitcoin, I never declared a gain. That could be very interesting. If you're in a bind and you don't want to sell your Bitcoin and you're up a lot on your Bitcoin, you can provide it to the lending service, pay an interest rate, which if you are bullish on Bitcoin, you believe that is going to greatly exceed, you know, whatever percentage, say it's even all the way up to 10% annually on their interest rate, and Bitcoin goes up 100%, let's say, and goes over 100,000, goes to 120,000. What do you care paying 10% on a loan against your Bitcoin? You get to keep your Bitcoin, get the 100% upside, and get a loan against it to the tune of maybe 15% of the holdings, or 50% of the holdings. So you give them 100 grand, they give you 50 grand in fiat, that kind of thing. That's very brilliant because they have the collateral in Bitcoin. They own the Bitcoin to leverage on and make interest on your Bitcoin, while then getting double interest, not only on your capital, on your Bitcoin, but also on getting interest off of you while you're paying the loan off against your Bitcoin. So it's like a win-win-win-win-win all the way across the board for everybody for BlockFi. And I think that's very smart. If I was in charge of Coinbase, I'd be looking to scoop money out of the market as much as I could and start making acquisitions. and make strategic acquisitions and build my proprietary network underneath the umbrella of Coinbase. That's what I would be doing. I'd be playing chess. You know, I'd be looking at everybody and trying to move knight to here, move rook here, you know, like that's what I would be up to if I was in Coinbase's position. But what I wanted to share in this video is in the near term, this could provide a very big opportunity. Because let's say maybe it's 6 months from now, maybe it's a year from now, who knows how long it is, 2 years from now, who knows when is this going to happen. But they could scoop a secondary out. And if they scoop a secondary out, that would essentially dilute the stock. I would see that as something that is going to dilute the stock and give a possible entry point for people to get in. What happened when Tesla did it? It actually dropped the stock in the beginning, if I remember correctly, and then eventually it actually really positively affected it when they scooped that money out of the treasury. I think that this could happen with Coinbase, and I think that could continue to go on and actually benefit Coinbase, because they're going to be, by scooping capital out of the market, they would be more proprietary than their competitors. They could use that capital to leverage on. You know, they could use that capital to provide more loans and get their service to have more strength behind their name. It's like, you know, people are worried at times, you know, is there going to be some sort of solvency event? Is there going to be another thing like with what happened with Robinhood in the GameStop situation? If they have more capital on hand at Coinbase than any other broker house, more people are going to trust them to use their platform instead of a different one. So that's all these different things is what I would be looking for and trying to accomplish if I was at Coinbase. If they do a secondary in the future, though, and they do dilute the stock, that would be the opportunity to get in. But it's just, I'm watching them very close on what they do after this IPO. Because if they do nothing, they got real competitors. This is a lot different than the electric car thing with Tesla, that comparison that I made. This is like, they do the exact same thing. There isn't like a different model car. There isn't this company has Tesla has the Gigafactory and they don't, you know, there isn't any of that. It's just, this is a broker house. This is a broker house. You can buy crypto here, put it on and take it out and put it on a hard wallet. You can buy crypto here, take it out, put it on a hard wallet, or you could leave it in their broker house and give them a free loan, which I don't recommend. It's just like any bank. We give them our money. They give us 0% against our money. It's about time, you know, like on a side note, it's about time people start like going, you know, if you're going to hold my money, what are you going to do for me? This is what I always think about when I go and meet with my bankers. It's like, I give you, you're sitting on all this capital of my companies, and now you give me how much a year in interest on my money? 0. What percent? And then when I want something from you, it's what, 8, 10, 12%? Think if every single person decided to be like, hey, we actually want some money. Like, remember when interest rates, I remember when I was a kid, like it would be normal to get 6%, 8% on a CD or whatever. It's like, when are people going to finally take a stand and be like, not only are these guys diluting our money through fractional reserve banking and giving out all these loans and inflating the monetary supply, but then on top of the dilution that they cause, they're not even giving us any interest rate to compensate for their dilution. It's like, it's getting taken advantage of squared. Anyway, I digress. I want to see Coinbase do something proprietary. That is what would make me bullish on the stock. I think in the near term, there'll be a better buying opportunity. I mean, it could fluctuate here. It could shoot over 100 billion. Who knows what happens with Coinbase in the near term? But I would rather go in with conviction when I see something happening that I truly believe in. I think the IPO is a step in the right direction for them, because now they have themselves in a position where they can get a lot more capital than their competitors. And that's exactly what Tesla did. Everybody, oh, Tesla's going to fail. They don't make enough money. They really didn't make that much money. So they were kind of right when they said that, the short sellers. But then what did Tesla do? They got a lot of money from the equity, from the market. You know, they just scooped all their shareholders' money up. That's what I think Coinbase could do in the future. And they would be smart to do that and be looking for competitive acquisitions to make and do things with that capital. I think, like, if they didn't buy out BlockFi, I think that the best thing they could do is just directly compete with them and just offer the exact same services. Literally just do the same thing. I don't know. But it would make a very good acquisition because I think they have a great brand there and they're doing some good stuff with that platform. But then again, your competition, Square, which already is a publicly traded company, and they have a lot of capital themselves. So there's people really at the heels of Coinbase. And so as of right now, maybe Cathy Wood knows something that I don't, and that's why she's buying so much more. She's selling Tesla and buying Coinbase. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm going, Tesla has a lot more proprietary stuff going for it than Coinbase does. Yeah, they're both ridiculous valuations at really lofty levels, but Coinbase could also take that capital out of the market and then buy Bitcoin with it, just like Tesla did. And then eventually that's what could get me bullish, because I go, oh, they're not valued in fiat. They're valued in fiat, but their assets consist of Bitcoin and consist of all these different things. Okay, well, that could get me to give my fiat to go into that company because they have a certain amount of assets, if that makes sense. That's what I want to see from Coinbase, but in the near term, I'm not interested in this. There's nothing proprietary here. In the near term, I will reiterate what I have to say about Coinbase. I would rather just have Bitcoin. I'm going to hold my Bitcoin, get the upside of the Bitcoin. If Coinbase skyrockets, it's probably going to bring Bitcoin up with it. So I'd rather just have the asset. And then if they do decide to get into the lending service and whatnot, maybe I give them the Bitcoin that I bought in the first place, give it to them, to the lending service. And if they don't do it, maybe I give it to this BlockFi, and then they give me a loan against it. And then I go put it in their Coinbase stock and then get to keep both and have best of both worlds. There's so many different angles that Coinbase could go to get ahead of their competition or buy out their competition. And I'm very curious in the near term what happens here, because it seems to have fizzled out a little bit. But granted, in my opinion, holding over 60 billion is still pretty impressive. Still pretty impressive. I'm very curious to see if it does get over that 100 billion figure. Excuse me. And more importantly, what do they do with this capital? What do you do with this capital? And I'm surprised that they even have that they haven't already gotten into that whole space of what BlockFi is doing and whatnot. I got to research a lot more about this BlockFi company because it seems very, very interesting what they're up to, and they seem like a great opportunity for Coinbase to acquire them or something along those lines, or do something very similar to themselves. Because I've always said, if you watch my videos back, ironically enough, I bring up Tesla a lot because I want a Tesla, but I won't buy a Tesla. That was a big gimmick. The thing, this actually is very relevant. It was a big gimmick what Elon Musk did. He said, oh yeah, we'll take Bitcoin for our Teslas. Well, basically you're just giving Tesla Bitcoin on the cheap, and because they get obviously a lower cost point on the car, so they're getting in, they get a profit in Bitcoin, and then they don't have to pay the fee to a broker house like Coinbase or whatever to buy the Bitcoin. So it's a win-win for them to take Bitcoin. What the loss, really, the bad position, is the person that paid in Bitcoin, because now they have this big capital gain they have to deal with. So if you bought a $50,000 car with your Bitcoin, you really bought like a $75,000, $85,000 car if you pay capital gains on your Bitcoin from declaring the gain from buying a luxury car. But if you gave your Bitcoin to BlockFi, got a loan against it, used your loan to make a deposit on the Tesla, then you get to keep your Bitcoin. You didn't declare any gain, and who cares about 10%? You didn't have to pay 40%, 35% in taxes on your Bitcoin. So if Coinbase offered a service similar to that, because that's a problem that myself, a lot of other Bitcoin holders are dealing with right now, is how do I get to use my Bitcoin without selling it and declaring a gain? Like, how do I do this? BlockFi is coming out with a very good solution, and it's a great start in that direction. And as Bitcoin gets higher and higher and higher and stabilizes, I'd imagine that's a very premier service to offer, and a lot of people are going to want that. So I would imagine I don't know why they're not involved in it. Anyway, I'm repeating myself, but that is the video. That's how I feel about Coinbase. Just to summarize, I'm not interested in this. I don't want anything to do with this IPO. I don't want anything to do with the stock market in general. Everything is ridiculously overvalued, but I am interested in what they do with this capital, and do they scoop money out of the market like Tesla did? That's what I'm interested in seeing. What are they going to do with this chess move that they made of doing this IPO? That's the video. Again, thank you so much for being here. If you found some valuable information, if you enjoy the content, would really appreciate you smashing that like button. I know I say it every video, but if you could hit the like button, really does help the video. reach out to more people. But more importantly, make your voice heard. We all love to see the comments. I love to see the comments, and everybody else in the community here. If you do decide to hit the subscribe button, please share with the community here. You don't have to subscribe, but share with the community either way what you think about this Coinbase IPO, so we can all kind of bounce some information off each other. I'm sure there's a million points that I missed out in this video. Those are just the main points I wanted to go over. And if you would like to be a subscriber, we'd love to have you in the community. Thank you so much for being here. Signing out. See you at the next video.